Hello, and welcome to our program, Where God Weeps, a program where we speak about the situation of the suffering and persecuted church around the world. Today, we're going to be speaking about the country of Myanmar. Myanmar is predominantly Buddhist. About 80% of the population is Buddhist, and Catholics number only about 1%. The Catholics, in addition to this, are concentrated mostly in the northwestern part of the country, in the Shan, Karen, and Chin states, where the early missionaries were able to evangelize. This primary evangelization work is still going on today. To tell us more, it's my great privilege to welcome His Excellency Bishop Lucius Hre Kung, the Bishop of the Hakha diocese in northwestern Myanmar. Your Excellency, thank you for being with us here today in our program.
Thank you, Mark. I'm glad to be here with you.
Your Excellency, your diocese is extremely isolated. If I understand correctly, it's at 6,000 meters. You are in the Himalaya mountain range. Can you give us just a picture of what this means in your day-to-day life, this geography?
Being the mountainous area, congregation is very difficult. When go to the town, many people have to walk on foot, and to go to the city like Yangon and Mandalay, we have to spend at least 2 days to arrive there. And many people also, it's very difficult to come to us. And the life of the people also is very, yes, all farmers.
I mean, if I understand correctly, poverty is a real issue in your area. If I understand, 73% of the population live beneath the poverty line. Can you give us just a picture of what is day-to-day life and what do we understand by poverty in your part of the world?
Because of deforestation, the soil becomes poorer and poorer, and it cannot produce enough food. For a year, the harvesting that a farmer or a family made is just enough for 3 months, and the rest they have to manage in some other ways. So for the job creation also, there is not so much yet for the job. So the people, young and old alike, have to go away somewhere they can find out for the earning, like in India, Mizoram, which is very close to us, or to some other place of Myanmar, or some to Malaysia.
So
like that.
The people are leaving. I mean, the diocese and the population is stable, or is the population shrinking as a consequence of young people leaving for better fortunes elsewhere?
The people are very stable, and then they have a strong faith. And of course, we have the young people gathering sometimes once a year to celebrate the youth training course, and then sport together, and then inputting the faith like that. So in each and every parish level, zonal level, or district level, they are having their own activities for the sustaining of the faith.
So you're trying to keep the young people. I want to come back a little bit to the poverty and the issue of education later, but what does this mean? You're at 6,000 meters. How do you get around? How far is it for you to visit your parishioners, and how do you travel?
It is very difficult to make a one-shot visit or to go around at once, but I have to go, from place to place. So if this year I go to southern side, I have to go southern side. Next year, northern side, like that. So sometimes by car, sometimes motorbike, sometimes even on foot. So this is the life of the people. So we are together like that. So
it must be a big celebration when the priest comes, or especially when the bishop comes? Because I suppose they don't see you so often.
When the people receive their bishop or even priest, the feeling is top. How to call? It's very a joyous time they have, and celebrations very big, and this is part of their faith also.
How many priests do you have in your diocese, and how big is your diocese? Just to have a picture.
Oh, yes, geographically, yes, mountainous area, and then it's spread, how to call, 10,000 or 11 square kilometer.
10,000 square kilometers.
Yes.
And how many priests do you have for this?
We have 70 priests, together with this year newly ordained priests, 4 priests we have, and they are posted to the different places across the diocese.
In some of the more remote areas, how often would they see a priest? Once a month, once every 2 months?
Our priests try to go around, so some place once a week, sometimes once a month, some places maybe once a year, like that. Not the same, yes.
Your Excellency, this is kind of a Catholic corner in, or rather a Christian corner. Myanmar is 80% Buddhist, but in this northwestern part of Myanmar is a very strong Christian population. I think the majority of the Catholics live in this area. Why is it that Christianity took such root in this northwestern part of Myanmar?
I would say this is those days, of course, the belief that we have traditional, original, the belief that we have had is quite similar to this Christian faith. The Almighty God, something like this is how to call worshipped by our forefathers.
So you're talking about the tribal faith, the animist faith. There, can you, before we get to this, and perhaps this is interesting, is to know what is the tribal faith? How would the animist faith be expressed by the people? For example, is it with animal sacrifice, or is it superstition? How do they live the faith, the tribal beliefs?
Oh, really? This is very interesting. Those days, of course, it's like the dream during my younghood. I used to join the grandpa doing the worshipping, so killing and slaughtering, and then cutting, and then bleeding the blood, and then how to call praying and calling the nuts, the spirit, and then mentioning what he would like to ask from, and all these become slowly taken away maybe by the situation. And then when Christian missionary comes in, they really can replace this, because it's very fitting that when Christ and the sacrifice and all this come in, and then the Almighty God, who, how to call, managing the whole universe, and this belief is really very easy to leave the old faith and to join to this Christianity.
But the first ones to arrive were the Protestants. Is that correct? And how did this work? How did the first evangelization come to this part of the world?
We have the story. First time, this MEP tried to come to Chin State, but first time they failed.
The MEP, just for clarification for our viewers, is
yes.
the French missionaries from Paris.
Yes.
Yes?
Oh yes.
The Catholics.
Oh yes, they come.
But they failed, you said.
They failed, and then the time when the second approach, the second effort is to our place, of course. It is 1958 to the city, now capital, Hakha. So from the time on, it's slowly growing.
And these came from the British, or the Protestant faith. How did that in 1958? That was coming from the Protestant church?
Actually, before Hakha, to southern side we call Minder, and then to Tonzang of extreme, northern side. It's 1933. They already bring the faith already there, And of course, to the center place of the Chin State, it's a bit late.
You yourself, can you tell us a little bit about your own story? What was the environment in which you grew up? Did you grow up in a village? Did you grow up in a big family? How, if you can tell us, just to give us a little bit of an idea, how was it growing up for you in this part of the world?
I was born in a small village, remote area place called Ring, at the middle of the Chin State, 1959, February 24. And yes, born in the one Protestant family. And then after 3 years, of course, the year when I was born, the missionary arrived.
The French missionary.
priest, brought by my father himself, because he was, those days, he's the only who can manage English.
How did he have English?
He's an ex-British military. So because of that, and he loved the how to call, stranger very much. And now meeting with the priest, he assists in so many areas, even though he's Protestant man. So eventually, the priest may be so kind and so clear in his point about the faith of Catholic. My father was not, how to call, durable in his Protestant stand. So he gave up to the Catholic.
Converted.
So he became Catholic, yes.
So you yourself, you went from following your grandfather, who was practicing still the tribal faith, to your father, who converted to Catholicism, and you yourself, who then became a priest. How was it for the rest of your family? How many were you in your family?
Yes, seven of us. I have two sisters, eldest sister, and then 5 sons. Yes, so we were there. But those grandpa's time, it's like my dream, very small chap. It's not actually just to have my share, some good curry. Yes. They have the sacrifice there. After that, we enjoy
a good meal.
Yes, good meal for the sake. Yes.
So that was it.
But at least it gives some sense how they manage the traditional religion. And when it comes to the faith, and now it's kind of good reference to me, yes.
You yourself, when did you first come to a sense of a vocation to the priestly life?
Oh, really? It is very interesting, because from our local place, with a French priest who came there, and then our local people being back in, how to call, believer, they never think of that we such local people to become priests, no way. So, but it's wonderful when these missionaries return back home because of the change in Myanmar policy, let's say.
They had to leave.
Yeah. So another local priest replaced. So this local priest, by the name of Paulinus, he was selecting us, candidate, 3 of us. And at that time, I was a little bit better marks in the school, maybe. So I was invited in seminary in Myanmar. Would you like to join? So I had no idea actually. But this man can know inside something of me. So I was invited, and then when the holiday came, I was prepared a little bit there together with him, and 3 of us. We were sent to minor seminary, and slowly, how to call, it's far away. The seminary we joined is
it's very far. It was
far away from us.
How old would you have been at this age?
At the time, I was around about 14, I suppose, yes.
So it's a big step for a young man to leave the village, leave the family,
really,
and go.
That's really very interesting. I still remember when we reached to the very completely strange area. We don't know Burmese, because there we have to speak Burmese, which is very strange to us. So we were there, discipline, seminary discipline, very strange to us. So the writer that time also very understanding about us, because he know very well it's him coming from the
Chin state in the north.
remote area.
Yes.
So after some time, I come to know how we have behaved and how we start our life in the seminary. So actually, normally speaking, the father, the rector, have a big heart with us. So slowly, at that time, of course, we would like to go back to the village we come from, homesick, and so. But you know, to go back mean we cannot, because at that time we were led by some guide, one man, gentleman. So now to go back mean not possible for us. We don't know the way also.
You don't know the way home. You had to.
Yes.
Because
So
you were guided out of the mountains to Mandalay, was it at that time?
Yes, normally, yes. So
And you couldn't find your way back.
yeah.
You were a bit stuck.
And then maybe the divine providence, slowly we enjoy the life, and then yes, we just on, and then after matric, in Myanmar, to pass matric is very important. After that, we were promoted to Yangon, where Catholic Major Seminary is until now. Yes.
How is this relationship between the faith and the sense of identity of the Chin people?
It's a very interesting question. Our people are very pious people, religious people, because today, whether Protestant or Catholic, they are 100% Christianity. Of course, in the southern part, we have some other faith. So this is part of our culture. It's Christian culture, we can say, plus with our traditional, custom, which is very close to Christianity. So wherever you go, you can wish, you can ask the lodging place. They will allow you, because supposing when I go to the town for the major seminary or minor seminary, which is very far from us, I have to sleep in the village or in the forest. If it happened in the village, every family open us the door to spend one night, and the next day you will be fed with the breakfast, and then offer you for the lunch, and all these are around across the Chin state. And we are very, very poor, but because of this Christian spirit, if you go there, beggar, because all the social constitution may be encouraged with the Christianity. So everybody is safe. They will be inclusive somewhere with the relatives or the closest or like that. So it's a very safe place. Of course, the poverties are very popular, common to us. But the spirit we have is very peaceful, very friendly, very warm. So the people who came are, they can sense such our identity.
A harmony and culture, this Christian culture. And Your Excellency, you were called to become a bishop. How was it for you when you heard the news that Rome was asking, the Holy Father was asking for you to be a bishop?
Yes, that's very wonderful and very, I was really surprising, because it's not my place actually, because no further study, no brought up like preparation like the becoming bishop.
When and where did you hear the news?
Somewhere in the middle of September, and message come to the centers who was the director there, and I was informed to go to the Bangkok quickly, as much as quickly. So the thing I have in my mind is other thing. But when I reached there, I was explaining about this, and I feel like I was at that time. I feel like small David who was in the forest shepherding, and then being brought to the in front of the prophet like that. So when the nuncio and the representative asking me this question, I was really I feel that about David.
Your motto is "Thy will be done." Why did you choose this motto?
During my seminary days, with the displaying and circling, and so, at that time I have one motto, the theme, at the time, suffering, and then silent, and then pray. This is my motto. This is one I take from the one saint, Saint Islam or somebody like that. So it's that time like that. And then when I become priest, to become priest means I am fully in the providence of Almighty God. So my motto become, thy will be done. And then when I become bishop, thinking back, this is how to call the time and very timely to say thy kingdom come. So because there are here and there so many things that the world can never provide. So with Almighty power and providence, these strong words of holy words I've chosen to offer up that everything, myself, my diocese, priest and everybody, that His kingdom may come.
Your Excellency, in 2014, Myanmar celebrated the 500 years anniversary of the arrival of the Catholic faith to the country. Many of the missionaries that came before you, they died for their faith, to bring the faith to the country. And your vocation, if I can be so forward, is a fruit of this, the seeds of faith coming from the blood of the martyrs. No?
Exactly.
How do you see this and your responsibility to this now going forward and bringing the faith to the people today?
Oh, really? It's very interesting that our fathers and missionaries have offered up their talents, their time and their lives and bring to this time, our time, and with the becoming of bishop, I have so many things in mind. One thing is those sacrifices that being offered for the church, and how would my sacrifice be? Or and then this also somehow, this celebration itself somehow inspire me to transmit or to be able to move on with the community whom I am. So it is really a remarkable moment, the time when the Ming celebrants or deliver the homily, and then the activity that the how to call, perform there, all the sing, and then all the drama, all the how to call exhibition, all these really is personally, I think, for me, and to encourage me, to inspire me like that. So this is very useful and helpful for me. And plus, this Holy Father visit just first, second, it's very close to each other. So another second force come. And this also is, I'm very fortunate, I feel fortunate, because in the history, such how to call, fortune is very rarely happen.
Yes.
So for me it's very great. Now I'm full of that force.
This Holy Spirit.
Yes. And plus, now I live now, face to face with Holy Father. And it's like for me everything, this time, to move forward for the faith and for the people.
Your Excellency, what do you need? What are your needs for the diocese and in this part at 6,000 meters in the northwest of Myanmar?
The most thing, our priority is always for the people. For the people mean their faith, and at the same time for the physical needs. And for the person, we usually goes to the young people because they need so much. With the previous situation, all the educational right or privilege are absent. So we have to would like to bring back all this to come in. So
to bring back the young people
to education, which is very little that we can provide, but we are trying to, of course, we call nation building, and to take part, a small part maybe, for the church. So this become our priority for the education of the young people, the children.
to,
So, yes.
to bring the faith to the next generation.
Sure, sure. So in every boarding house, where the priest, everywhere the priest is, he will be with a certain group of young people, for the students, yes. And they will share what they have, and then the little thing, yes, materially what they can share. And sister, religious community, and priest. Where those centers, every centers, yes, they will take this very seriously, and then this will be a great thing to our young people for the future and building of the nation too.
Your Excellency, thank you for having been with us today in our program.
Thank you very much, Mark.
And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us today in our program. And if you'd like to know more about the situation facing the Christians, the Catholics in northwestern Myanmar, please have a look at the contact information at the end of this program. And we look forward to seeing you next week. Take care.